Most people don't realize this, but the moment they begin trying to manifest something, they unknowingly activate the very mechanism that prevents it from happening. It's subtle, almost invisible, and that's why it traps so many intelligent, sincere people. They think manifestation fails because they lack belief, discipline, or spiritual purity. In reality, manifestation fails because they are interacting with reality in a way that contradicts how reality actually functions at the quantum level. If manifestation worked the way it's commonly taught, the world would look very different. Millions of people repeat affirmations every day. Millions visualize their dream life before sleep. Millions speak about abundance, love, health, and success, as if it's already theirs. And yet, the majority remain stuck in the same patterns, the same emotional loops, the same external circumstances. This alone should raise a question serious enough to pause everything else. If so many people are doing the right techniques, why are the results so inconsistent? The uncomfortable answer is that manifestation culture simplified something that is not simple. Reality is not poetic. It is precise. And precision does not respond to hope, desperation, or even belief. It responds to consistency, stability, and coherence. Quantum physics has been telling us this for over a century, but its implications for human consciousness were never meant to be motivational slogans. They were meant to describe how systems behave when observed, interacted with, and stabilized. Most people approach manifestation as if reality is something that needs to be convinced. They talk to the universe like it's an external authority that must be persuaded, impressed, or emotionally moved. But quantum mechanics does not describe a universe that listens. It describes a universe that mirrors. And what it mirrors is not what you say you want, but what you repeatedly confirm through your internal state. Here is the first idea that challenges almost everything you've been told. Wanting is not a creative force. Wanting is evidence of lack. When you want something, especially intensely, you are reinforcing the internal reality where that thing is absent. That internal reality becomes stable through repetition, emotion, and identity. And stability, not desire, is what reality responds to. This is why people who desperately want money feel more financial pressure instead of relief. This is why people who crave love often attract emotionally unavailable partners. This is why people who are obsessed with success experience burnout, self-doubt, and delay. Their internal signal is not abundance, love, or success. Their internal signal is need. And need is one of the most stable emotional states humans can maintain. Quantum systems evolve towards stability. Not happiness, not morality. Stability. When a system finds a configuration it can maintain with minimal internal conflict, it stays there. Human consciousness is no different. Your nervous system, emotional patterns, and self-concept create a baseline configuration. That configuration becomes your normal. And reality organizes itself around what feels normal to you, not what excites you temporarily. This is why manifestation feels like it almost works. People experience signs, synchronicities, moments of alignment, sudden opportunities that seem close but never fully land. These are not accidents. They are fluctuations in probability when the internal signal briefly changes. But because the deeper system remains the same, reality eventually snaps back to the familiar state. Most people misinterpret this snapback as bad luck or divine timing. In truth, it is regulation. The system is restoring equilibrium. One of the most misunderstood aspects of quantum mechanics is observation. Popular culture treats observation as looking or thinking about something. In reality, observation is interaction. It is the relationship between the observer and the system being observed. And the observer is never neutral. The observer always brings a state. In your life, you are the observer, but not your conscious mind. Your emotional baseline is the observer. Your nervous system is the observer. Your identity is the observer. Every outcome you experience is shaped by the quality of that observation. An anxious observer collapses anxious outcomes. A defensive observer collapses conflict. A regulated observer collapses predictability and flow. This is not philosophy. This is how probability behaves when influenced by consistent conditions. Most manifestation teachings ignore the observer entirely. They focus on thoughts as if thoughts are the primary signal. But thoughts are surface-level phenomena. They change easily and contradict each other constantly. Reality does not reorganize itself around surface noise. It reorganizes itself around deep patterns. Your deep pattern is revealed not by what you say during meditation, but by how you react when things don't go your way. How you respond to delay, how you respond to uncertainty, how you respond to silence. Those reactions tell the field what kind of world you expect to live in. If delay triggers panic, your system expects loss. If uncertainty triggers control, your system expects danger. If silence triggers self-doubt, your system expects rejection. Those expectations are coherent, they are repeated, and they are stable. So the field complies. This is why trauma plays such a powerful role in manifestation, not because trauma is spiritually negative, but because trauma trains the nervous system to anticipate threat. A threat-oriented system cannot sustain expansive outcomes. It will sabotage them, not out of self-hatred, but out of protection. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar peace. This explains something many people are afraid to admit. Sometimes manifestation fails because success would destabilize the identity you've survived with. Wealth, love, visibility, or freedom may conflict with the emotional structure that kept you safe in the past. When that happens, the subconscious intervenes. Not consciously, automatically. From a quantum perspective, this is the system preserving coherence. You cannot collapse a probability that your internal system cannot regulate. This is why sudden success often destroys people. This is why lottery winners lose money. This is why relationships collapse when they get serious. The internal system was never calibrated for the outcome, so it destabilizes under pressure and returns to familiarity. Most manifestation content encourages you to raise your vibration, but vibration is not emotion. Vibration is consistency. A calm, regulated system has a higher functional coherence than an excited but unstable one. This is why calm people often appear lucky. They are not lucky. They are predictable to the field. The universe is not impressed by emotional intensity. Emotional intensity is volatility. Volatility creates unstable observation, and unstable observation keeps probability waves open. When probability remains open, nothing finalizes. This is why obsession delays results. The more you check, the more you observe from uncertainty, and uncertainty keeps outcomes unresolved. This is why people often manifest when they stop caring. They didn't give up. They stopped destabilizing the observation. Most people misunderstand letting go. They think it means abandoning desire. It doesn't. Letting go means releasing the emotional charge that signals instability. When the charge drops, the observer becomes clearer. When the observer becomes clear, the system can collapse. Reality does not move when you are trying to make it move. It moves when there is no internal resistance left to oppose the outcome. This is the part that feels unsettling to hear. Many people are not blocked from manifestation. They are protected from it. Protected by an identity that cannot yet handle the outcome it claims to want. Identity is not a label. It is a set of emotional reflexes. And those reflexes define what feels normal, what feels dangerous, and what feels impossible. You cannot manifest a life that contradicts your sense of normal without changing what normal feels like in your body. This is where most people quit. Because changing normal feels like losing yourself. The ego interprets identity change as death, and it resists. It creates doubt, boredom, distraction, and skepticism. Not because you are weak, but because the system is doing its job. Manifestation begins not when you add something new, but when you remove emotional loyalty to the old pattern. But most people never get this far. They stay in technique mode. They collect affirmations, scripts, rituals, and methods, hoping that one of them will override their internal state. It never does. Techniques amplify what is already stable. They do not replace it. If your baseline is lack, affirmations amplify frustration. If your baseline is fear, visualization amplifies anxiety. If your baseline is unworthiness, scripting amplifies self-judgment. This is why people burn out on manifestation, not because it doesn't work, but because it keeps reflecting back what they haven't resolved. The universe is not testing you, it is echoing you. And until you understand that manifestation is not about creating something new, but about becoming compatible with a different internal equilibrium, you will keep trying harder and receiving less. That's because it exposed something most people avoid looking at. Manifestation does not fail randomly. It fails systematically. And once you understand the system, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. In this part, we're going to identify the exact mistake that silently cancels manifestation for most people, even the ones who believe deeply, practice consistently, and genuinely want change. The mistake is simple to state, but difficult to accept. Most people try to manifest from desire instead of identity. And in quantum reality, desire is not a creative signal. It is a stabilizer of absence. Desire feels active, hopeful, and forward-moving. But beneath the surface, desire confirms something very specific to the field. This is not my current reality. When that confirmation is repeated emotionally, behaviorally, and neurologically, it becomes coherent. And coherence is what reality responds to. Quantum systems do not respond to what you hope for. They respond to what you repeatedly confirm as true. This is where most manifestation teachings quietly mislead people. They treat desire as power. They encourage you to amplify it, visualize it, emotionally charge it, and hold on to it as motivation. But from a quantum perspective, amplified desire often amplifies instability, and instability keeps probability unresolved. In physics, a probability wave collapses only when the observing conditions become consistent enough to favor one outcome over others. If the observing conditions fluctuate, the wave remains open. In life, this open state feels like waiting, almost having, or being stuck in cycles of near success. Most people live in that state for years. They desire change, but their identity is still anchored to the old configuration. They imagine a new life, but emotionally react as if the old one is still in control. They say they're ready, but their nervous system disagrees. And the nervous system always has the final vote. Here is a truth that is rarely stated clearly. Your subconscious does not choose what is best for you. It chooses what is familiar. Familiarity equals safety at the biological level. Even painful familiarity feels safer than unknown stability. This is why people unconsciously sabotage the very outcomes they say they want. It's not self-hatred, it's self-preservation. From a quantum standpoint, identity is the observer, and the observer collapses outcomes that are compatible with itself. An identity trained in struggle collapses struggle. An identity trained in scarcity collapses scarcity. Not because it wants to suffer, but because suffering is predictable. Predictability equals regulation. Most people don't realize that their manifestation practice is often fighting their identity instead of transforming it. They use affirmations to argue with their subconscious. They use visualization to escape their current emotional state. They use techniques as compensation rather than calibration. But quantum systems do not respond to arguments. They respond to alignment. Alignment does not mean agreement at the thought level. It means agreement at the nervous system level. If your body tenses when you imagine success, success is perceived as a threat. If your breath shortens when you imagine intimacy, intimacy is perceived as danger. If your stomach tightens when you imagine wealth, wealth is perceived as instability. Those responses are not opinions. They are signals, and reality mirrors signals, not words. This is why people can intellectually understand manifestation and still fail. Understanding does not override regulation. Knowledge does not override conditioning. Awareness does not override identity. Only consistency does. Another misunderstood concept in quantum mechanics is the role of observation over time. Observation is not a single moment of attention. It is sustained interaction. What you repeatedly observe from a particular state becomes reinforced. In daily life, this means that how you interpret events matters more than the events themselves. Two people can experience the same delay. One interprets it as failure, the other interprets it as neutral. The field registers two completely different signals. Interpretation stabilizes identity. This is why emotional reactions are more important than circumstances. Circumstances fluctuate, reactions repeat, and repetition is what collapses reality. Most people unknowingly reinforce the old timeline through their reactions. They react to delay with panic, which confirms lack. They react to uncertainty with control, which confirms danger. They react to silence with self-doubt, which confirms unworthiness. Each reaction strengthens the observer that collapses the same future again. From a quantum perspective, this is not punishment, it is feedback. The field is always responding accurately. The confusion comes from misunderstanding what it is responding to. This brings us to one of the most counterintuitive truths about manifestation. Effort often delays outcomes. Not because effort is bad, but because effort is usually driven by urgency. Urgency signals instability. Instability keeps probability open. This is why things often fall into place when you stop trying. Not because you stopped caring, but because you stopped interfering with the collapse process. Constant checking is interference. Constant monitoring is interference. Constant questioning is interference. Each time you ask, "Is it working?" you observe from uncertainty, and uncertainty keeps the system unresolved. Quantum reality does not finalize outcomes under interrogation. It finalizes them under assumption. Assumption is different from belief. Belief can be shaky. Assumption is unconscious. It is what you operate from without thinking. When something becomes assumed, your behavior changes automatically. You stop scanning for proof. You stop rehearsing failure. You stop bracing for disappointment. And the field responds immediately to that shift. This is why manifestation often feels delayed and then sudden. The internal shift happens quietly. The external result appears abruptly. Most people miss the internal shift because it is not dramatic. It feels like emotional neutrality, like calm, like boredom, like not needing the outcome to validate you anymore. That is the moment manifestation activates. But here's the problem. Most people mistake that state for giving up. The ego interprets calm as loss of motivation. It pushes you back into desire, effort, and emotional charge. This creates a loop. Try hard, burn out, let go, almost manifest, panic, interfere, repeat. The loop continues until identity changes. Identity change is not created by visualization. It is created by new patterns of response. When you respond differently to the same trigger, you destabilize the old identity. When you stop reacting automatically, you interrupt the observer that keeps collapsing the same outcomes. This is uncomfortable. Because identity is not just psychological, it is biological. It lives in posture, breath, muscle tone, and emotional reflex. This is why manifestation is deeply connected to the nervous system. A dysregulated nervous system cannot sustain new timelines. It will pull you back into what it knows. This also explains why people experience resistance when things start working. Anxiety increases, doubt appears, distractions multiply, old habits resurface. This is not failure, it is recalibration. The system is deciding whether the new identity is safe enough to maintain. If you interpret resistance as a sign to push harder, you often collapse the process. If you interpret it as a signal to regulate, slow down, and stabilize, you move forward. This is the part most people never learn. Manifestation does not require emotional highs. Emotional highs are unstable. It requires emotional capacity. Capacity is the ability to remain regulated in the presence of expansion. If success excites you so much that you lose regulation, the system will retreat. If love overwhelms you emotionally, the system will protect you by withdrawing it. Reality does not test worthiness, it tests stability. And stability is trained, not imagined. This is why techniques alone don't work. Techniques are external structures. Identity is an internal environment. Reality responds to environments. You cannot plant a tropical seed in frozen soil and blame the seed. By the time people reach this stage, something subtle has already begun to change. Not externally, but internally. The desperation softens. The constant mental noise quiets. The obsession with results loosens its grip. And this is usually the moment people think they are doing something wrong. They believe they are losing motivation, losing faith, or giving up too early. In reality, they are finally entering the only state where manifestation can actually occur. Real manifestation does not feel dramatic. It does not feel euphoric. It does not arrive with fireworks or emotional highs. Real manifestation feels almost boring at first. Calm, ordinary, neutral. And that is precisely why it works. Quantum reality does not respond to excitement. Excitement is volatility. It rises and falls quickly. Reality responds to consistency, and consistency feels quiet. When your internal system stops arguing with the outcome no longer has resistance to meet. At that point, reality does not need to be pushed. It reorganizes itself automatically. This is the part most people never understand. They believe manifestation is about creating something new. In truth, it is about removing the internal conditions that made the old reality inevitable. Once those conditions dissolve, the new reality does not need effort. It arrives as a consequence. Think carefully about how major shifts actually happen in life. People don't usually change careers at the peak of emotional excitement. They change when staying the same becomes unnatural. Relationships don't deepen when both people are anxious and obsessed. They deepen when safety replaces urgency. Confidence does not appear when someone is hyped. It appears when they stop seeking validation. These are not coincidences. They are indicators of internal stabilization. From a quantum perspective, reality shifts when the observer no longer fluctuates. When your reactions settle into a new pattern, the probability wave collapses accordingly. And this collapse is not something you feel happening. You only notice it after the fact. This is why manifestation often appears sudden from the outside. People say things like, "It just happened," or "I don't know how it worked out," or "I stopped trying," and then everything changed. But internally, the shift had already occurred. It just wasn't dramatic enough to notice. The ego expects transformation to feel intense, but intensity is a stress response. Transformation is regulation. When a new identity becomes regulated, it becomes your baseline. And once something is baseline, reality treats it as default. This is why people who truly manifest stop talking about manifestation. They don't need to convince themselves anymore. They don't need techniques to maintain belief. They simply operate from a different assumption set. Assumptions are powerful because they are unconscious. You don't argue with them, you don't defend them, you don't check if they're working, you live from them, and the field responds instantly to that. Here is a critical distinction most people miss. Manifestation is not about getting what you want. It is about becoming someone for whom the outcome is no longer emotionally significant. Not because it doesn't matter, but because it no longer defines you. When the outcome stops defining you, it stops controlling your nervous system. And when your nervous system is no longer controlled by the outcome is free to appear. This is why chasing signs delays results. This is why constant checking slows things down. This is why monitoring progress creates resistance. Each of those behaviors signals uncertainty, and uncertainty keeps reality unresolved. The moment you stop asking, "Is it coming?" you stop observing from lack. And when observation shifts, collapse becomes possible. This does not mean you become passive. It means your action is no longer fueled by anxiety. You still move, you still choose, you still participate, but you do so without emotional leverage on the result. Action without attachment is one of the most coherent signals a human can send. It tells the field, this identity is stable regardless of outcome, and that stability is magnetic. This is also why people often say manifestation works best when you focus on yourself. What they really mean is that when you focus on regulating your internal environment instead of manipulating external circumstances, coherence increases. You stop chasing reality. Reality starts following you. This is the point where many people feel a strange emptiness. Not depression, but space. The old emotional loops are gone, but the new reality hasn't fully arrived yet. This in-between state feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliarity can trigger fear. This is where many people sabotage the process by going back to old habits. They fill the space with noise, effort, overthinking, and emotional charge. They mistake silence for stagnation, but silence is integration. In physics, systems reorganize most efficiently when interference stops. Human consciousness is no different. When you stop interfering, the system completes the shift. This is why patience is not passive. It is active non-interference. The most powerful thing you can do at this stage is nothing dramatic. No rituals, no forcing, no affirmations shouted over resistance, just consistency and regulation. Responding differently, pausing instead of reacting, choosing neutrality instead of control, allowing uncertainty without panic. Each of these behaviors reinforces the new observer, and once the observer stabilizes, the outcome is no longer optional. It becomes inevitable. This is the part people rarely talk about because it doesn't sell hope. It sells responsibility. You stop blaming timing, you stop blaming the universe, you stop blaming methods. You realize that reality was never withholding anything. It was waiting for compatibility. And compatibility is not about worthiness. It is about coherence. You were never unworthy of what you wanted. You were simply more coherent with the version of life you kept recreating. When coherence changes, reality follows without resistance. This is why true manifestation feels natural, not miraculous. It feels like things falling into place instead of being pulled into place. It feels obvious in hindsight. People around you may call it luck. They may say you changed overnight. They may think something external happened. But you will know the truth. Nothing external changed first. You did. And once you changed, reality had no reason to remain the same. This is the final understanding. You do not manifest by asking reality to give you something. You manifest by becoming someone reality can no longer deny. Not because of belief, not because of emotion, not because of effort, but because physics responds to stability. And once stability is established, the rest is just timing.